Hey, welcome to Hotel Crush, the podcast that's going to replace TripAdvisor. Hosted by two industry professionals, a hotel developer and a hotel designer, we come together to share all the things we crush on at our favorite hotels. Each episode, we interview someone from the hotel, the owner or GM, plus a celebrity surprise. You'll listen in anticipation, I promise, laugh, and learn what creates an unforgettable hotel experience. We really care about hospitality. Welcome to an all-new Hotel Crush. So, Bashar, hey.
How's it going?
Hey, man, just like quick off the bat, like, where are you?
Surprisingly enough, I am home in the Democratic People's Republic of Portland, Oregon today for 5 minutes, though. I'm leaving this afternoon.
I mean, just for our listener, and the reason I'm like laughing and asking you, where are you, is because you basically travel every day. You're in a different hotel, traveling around the world. You were just like in the Ice Hotel and all around, like, where were you, Scandinavia?
I was in Amsterdam, all over Portugal, Stockholm, and then Kiruna, Sweden, where the Ice Hotel is. Yes, indeed. And it's definitely a bucket list for our listeners. And I managed to check a big item off my bucket list, and that was the Northern Lights. However, it was minus 28 Fahrenheit. It was so cold. The phone stopped working. You know, your iPhone says it's too hot, it doesn't work anymore. I've never seen it not work because of cold. Well, I got to experience that too as well. So.
I remember making an igloo in Connecticut one time with my kids, and my phone froze and it said it's too cold to work.
Yeah.
Well, wow, the Northern Lights, that must have been incredible. Did you just like shit your pants or what?
It was too cold to do any bodily functions of any kind. Everything was frozen. So could not get the phone out of our pockets to take a photo. We were on snowmobiles, but it was truly spectacular. Definitely a bucket list. And the Ice Hotels, for those who haven't been, this is the original. It's 2 hours north of the Arctic Circle. They have warm rooms, they have permanent ice rooms, and they have temporary ice rooms that they change every season. Definitely a bucket list for folks. You should check it out. And, you know, one night is good enough in a frozen room. I had done it before with friends, but I wanted to bring my family. So definitely bucket list for friends, family, couple. It's spectacular.
And so you're recommending one night is enough to freeze.
For sure, one night is enough.
To freeze your tushy.
Yeah. Yep.
Incredible. And like, do you find it exciting, or are you nervous? Like all this traveling, like you've been traveling for so long and so much that it's just kind of like a thing.
It's funny. Eileen, my wife, and I talk often about she wants roots and I want wings. And I say, well, how do you solve that problem? Interestingly enough, though, generationally, you know, my kids are college age. They don't even think about roots. They all want wings. The world has opened up so much that everybody seems to want wings. And that's sort of my DNA. And it's my oxygen. I can't not do it. For sure.
Well, man, I just came off of kind of a crazy couple days. I was at a big hotel conference, which I see you skipped out on the first part. This was the inaugural year for Alice Design Plus. And I was actually a speaker. Funny enough, my panel was called MEP and Scheduling.
I miss. Riveting. I'm sure it was riveting.
And actually, we made so much noise and we're laughing so much that people like came in and we had a full house. So like, oddly enough, it was like one of the most captivating talks and panels. But Alice Design Plus, they did a great job. It was an amazing first time conference, and I'm excited for it to grow really big. And you know, also like I just grabbed a coffee. So yeah, you know me that I probably shouldn't even be drinking coffee. But I love to just like take a trip down. Rivian opened a showroom in this old theater downtown in Laguna Beach. So I normally cruise there with my kids. My 2-year-old has this electric Audi that she drives over. And I was like, it's a Rivian place, you know, like community space. And I was like, I'm sorry, you know, she's showing up in this Audi e-tron. So we covered it with Rivian stickers. But I grabbed a coffee at Equator. It's just like so good. But the coffee is so good and delicious. But I'm a little bit nervous. This is the first time we had all this technical issues and we had to reschedule because your flight, like, and then we had some technical kermuffle already today. So I am a little nervous trying to act as a producer, but super excited. to jump into our hotel that we're featuring today.
And we picked a great one for our inaugural. I am super excited. You went to the opening party recently, so you have a fresher perspective. And I feel like I've had a front row seat to the evolution of that hotel. And we'll talk about our fabulous guests in a minute. But yeah, let's jump right in.
Oh my God, Bashar. The hotel's La Playa in Carmel by the Sea. And what the man, this place is great. I loved everything about it. And I keep telling people about, oh, Bashar and I are, co-hosting this podcast, and I'm coming from an experiential design point of view, and he's coming from hospitality. But I have to say that the hospitality of this place was so good. It was so invisible and seamless. And like, I actually lugged the family, my 2.5-year-old and my wife. We drove up from Laguna, and we got there, 2 days of traveling with the 2-year-old. I was all disheveled and kermuffled and all the things. I'm checking in. I ended up leaving a box of toys on the counter and the keys to the hotel room. Totally forgot it. We go down to the hotel room. We're checking in. And I was like, I left the keys and the toys back up. And as soon as I turned around to leave the room, someone had appeared and brought it back to me. And the whole time that I was there, everything was just exactly as it needed when I needed it. And I had never actually experienced that before. And I basically, for the listener out there, I basically lived in this hotel for 48 hours, which was amazing. I would love to keep living there. But the thing is that everything was so seamless and invisible that it just made me feel that our family was welcomed to live there, right? And I had never traveled with my daughter and my wife and felt so comfortable that this was like an extension of my own home.
Well, two things, by the way. Like, I want to be excited and surprised, but because I know who's behind it, I'm like, duh, obviously it's perfect in every way. But beyond that, for those who don't understand, the service industry, although at its very core is very simple, and I hate the term service, by the way, it's hospitality, which is far more than service. But to make it be what you described, invisible, there when you want it and not when you don't, light touch, but high touch at the same time, that takes a lot of work and effort and a lot of work behind the scenes. But it largely comes from having a fantastic team, obviously, and being there for your team. It doesn't come with intimidation. It doesn't come with scare tactics. It really comes from creating a family that is delighted to run behind you with the box of toys and the keys. So people often talk about this like it's training. It's far more than training. It really is culture, and creating culture is the hardest thing you do in our business. And that's why, again, because I know the people behind it, I'm like, duh, I'm not really surprised. So.
Well, let's actually talk about the hotel. So it's La Playa Hotel in Carmel by the Sea. It was built in 1905, and it was a 75-room artist home turned hotel. It has these amazing Bohemian gardens, and it's this incredible like turn of the century architecture. And it has like seascape views that you can see from all around the property. And I love just the layering of the property that you can meander. And I'm cruising around the hotel in my silk robe, but I'm like meandering like around the property, through the pool, through all the gardens. And it was just incredible what they had done with this restoration and renovation. And it's a historic landmark in Carmel.
And to be clear, by the way, people hear Carmel and assume ultra luxury. The bones are, older bones. They're not designed to be ultra luxury. It's really what makes it feel luxury is, to your point, the intimacy of it, the service you get in it, these peaks at the sea that you get. So people immediately jump to sort of ultra luxury. This isn't in bones, but it is in spirit, and it is in attitude for sure.
Oh man. At the Alice Design Plus conference that I was at yesterday, someone said luxury is a state of mind. And I was like, oh, yes. I as a designer, for many years, people are like, why they have this idea of what luxury is, and it's never the thing, Luxury is like time and space, state of mind. Luxury isn't a gold toilet, you don't have to put the bathtub in the bathroom. Like, a luxurious experience is if the bathtub is in the living room and you can watch the sunset. Like, what is luxury, right? And so that whole idea
it's changing every day. Generationally, it's changing every day. What our kids think luxury is, it's completely different than what our parents thought luxury was. It's no longer about, bow tie and ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. To your point, It is not a box you check. It is a state of mind. It's attitude. It's so many different things. And what you deem to be luxurious, I may not. So it's becoming more complicated to really attend to the customer's needs and desires. But I think you said it right. And I was talking, by the way, with Sean McPherson, who in my mind is one of the hotel pioneers in New York City. And he describes it as this idea of it's a respite. When you go to a hotel, it's a respite. And the respite you have, that is the luxury because our lives don't give us enough time to find a respite. So going to a hotel for a night for any reason is a respite. And that in and by itself is luxury. So time is becoming far more valuable as an item of luxury than we had historically thought of it as versus things and to your point, golden toilets and
Yeah.
whatever else and a butler at your room for all I care.
What's that word for when you are like born in the wrong age, like time, like an anachronism? What's that word called?
I'm not smart enough to answer
There's
that. I don't
something
know.
like because like for me, like I love the details, but there's something about the poets and the beats and this
Hmm.
bohemian thing that I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. Because
Hmm.
in the room, there's this incredibly gorgeous bar, and in the bar, there's like recipes around crafted around poets and poetry and
Hmm.
bohemia, and and it has all these like bottles, and you can make your own cocktails in the room,
Right.
and it
Well,
had
it's
this like
funny.
welcome.
I often use the idea of if Hemingway was alive today, where would he go stay? He's not staying at Montage or Ritz Carlton or St. Regis because that's not luxury to him. He's coming to La Playa to be inspired because he doesn't care about see and be seen. What he would care about is places that inspire him to be the creative that he was. So I think those places are becoming far more valuable. And I think people who understand the formula can deliver on that promise, which, by the way, you can hire the best designer in the world and the best branding firm in the world, and that's not what it takes. It takes a vision from someone who's driving this process to understand the nuance of creating those spaces. If there was ever a checklist on how to build a place suitable for Hemingway, by definition, it's doomed to fail. Literally by definition, because this cannot be a checklist.
No, it's definitely, and that's a good segue. This doesn't feel like a checklist at all. This feels like something that was born from someone's soul and heart, poured everything into this. Even the breakfast buffet is incredible. I would live in this hotel just to go to the breakfast bar. Traveling around Europe, it's very European. It has this very kind of Parisian feel to it, and it has everything that you could possibly want, but it's beautifully
Sure.
laid out. It's absolutely gorgeous. But to your point, this is like someone birthed this, right? These aren't a checklist when you're like designing and coming up with experiences. It's all experience. And
Mhm.
I actually happened to be there during the opening event, and there was this amazing dinner and then this amazing theater performance that was written specifically for the hotel and performed by this incredible acting group called IMA out of LA, and it was just the most amazing, exciting kind of experience I've ever had. And if a hotel is going to go to that length for an opening, you know that everything, all the
Uh,
touch points are considered.
are we crushing or gushing, man? We're starting to gush. I think it's time to bring in our fabulous guest and at least rub it in his face how much we're gushing on his hotel that he did not pay us to gush on, by the way, just for the record. This is not a paid advertisement, although it's feeling like it. John Grossman, I am honored and thrilled to call you a friend, first and foremost. And I would never be doing gushing like this in your face. So I was doing it behind your back while your camera's off. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure and honor to introduce my friend John Grossman, who is the owner and the visionary behind the hotel. And I'll tell you before he tells you, he's not the visionary. It takes a whole team behind him, but he's smart enough to surround himself by a group of amazing, smart people to help him execute his vision. Because alone, he would have screwed it up. I tell you that for sure. If he thought he knew everything, he would have literally screwed it up. So, John, welcome. We'd love to hear a little bit about your background. You've had a really interesting background. Your family has sort of been in the business, but you kind of carved your own path. So let's talk a little bit about you and your background. Take it away.
Well, so appreciate both of you guys, and thank you for having me as an inaugural guest for this really exciting and I think trailblazing podcast. There's a lot of podcasts out there, but this one I think has a really specific and unique perspective and incredibly talented host. So I can't wait
Oh,
to
thank you. Thank you.
hear
He's
this
talking
news.
to me, Bashar.
Whoa, whoa! I was gonna say you jumped quickly to that. What's happening here?
And also, thank you for the incredible introduction. I just was listening to what you were saying, Brooks, about how La Playa made you feel, and then you, Bashar, about the kind of hotel that Hemingway would choose to visit. And like, I'm just kind of weak in the knees. That's an incredible endorsement, and I just can't tell you how much I appreciate you communicating the feeling that we were able to create for you. And to your point, Bashar, it's absolutely a we. It's a fantastic team, actually. Interestingly enough, led by Susan Dampier from Little Nell Heritage. She was with Aspen Ski Company for about 17 years.
Referring to my hat that I'm wearing.
I'm giving a shout out because I see your hat. Yeah. So just to your question about kind of the history of myself in this industry, my parents were in fact hospitality owners and operators before I joined the company, and prior to that in retail and other aspects of real estate. But I had turned 30 and was living overseas in Australia, and my dad had turned 80, and it was at the point where it was time for him to think about what's next, and what next could have been either winding up the company and selling everything down, or bringing me in. And so we had a conversation. At the time, we had 2 hotels. He invited me back from Australia, which was a difficult decision for me to make at that time because I was really enjoying my life there. I'd been there for about 5 years. And now I've been back for just close to 14 years, and we've grown the company from 2 hotels to 10. We have 2 standalone restaurants. We have a geographic focus, Southwest. So that's Phoenix, where we have our greatest concentration of assets and our head office. Then 2 hotels in Laguna Beach, which is down the street, of course, from Brooks. That'll be on the next future crush.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Don't make any assumptions there, buddy. The next one will cost you dearly. The next one may cost you a vintage Land Cruiser in my driveway. We'll talk about that.
It's amazing. I mean, Mark and Rose Hospitality has such amazing properties, and yes, I'm lucky to have 2 in the city that I live in.
So we've actually specifically and strategically built our growth pattern around places that can be serviced with a direct flight, hopefully from Phoenix, Arizona. So these folks can get from the office to the property, do their work, and get back in the same day if possible. And we really just think that's good business. It's good for the people. It's good for our experience. It's good for the guests. It allows us to be able to layer on the experiential kind of high touch points that, define quote unquote luxury, hopefully, for people. And I think that's one of our kind of secret keys to success. It's certainly not rocket science to have a concentrated geolocated strategy that allows us to service all these experiences.
And a lot of people say that, John, as you know, and not execute on it because greed gets in the way. And I know firsthand, having had a front row seat to your growth and your company, that you've had dozens and dozens of opportunities that are creative opportunities that you could have easily had east of the Mississippi, and you deliberately chose not to. And that takes a ton of discipline because, as you know, greed is a powerful urge that hits us all. And you manage to stay true to your statement and stay true to your mission. And this idea of people, we're not saving lives, it's hotels, right? Like at the end of the day, it's hotels. And people just get so caught up in it and they think they're changing the world. We're not, right? So this idea of going back to spend time with the person you love is so important, and we've lost sight of it. And you're watching now what's happening with this work from home movement. So why do we hotels insist on sending people on the road for 2 weeks away from their family just to check some box that's inconsequential at the end of the day? So kudos to you for staying true to that mission.
And we'll be right back. Newly restored and reimagined, following an extensive $15 million renovation with award-winning design studio Post Company, La Playa Hotel offers an exquisite blend of historic allure and an inquisitive spirit. The 75-room hotel stands as a testament to its storied past, artfully blending high design and historical architectural details to continue its legacy as a sanctuary for New Age intellectuals and literati. Boasting beautifully landscaped grounds, ocean views, a swimming pool, indoor-outdoor breakfast room, wedding and event venue, and Carmel's famed Buds Bar, La Playa is an homage to its former life as a creative enclave in one of the American West's most coveted artist communities. And now, back to the show. Yeah, I was going to say, because there's so many decisions that go in when you're making a hotel, like gazillions of things you have to decide. I also have so many questions. Like my biggest one is like, how do you wake up one day and decide I'm going to buy this 1905 house and turn it into a boutique hotel? that Hemingway would want to go and stay at. For the listener out there, I met John when I was living at the hotel for 48 hours, but I specifically avoided him. Didn't want to talk to him at all, so I could have this like chat with him now. So
yeah, let's talk about inception of La Playa. When did you guys buy it? What made you buy it? And how has it, walk us through today of its history. And again, I am not blowing smoke up your ass. I say all that because I know that it comes from a place of sincerity and not just some box checking to say, oh, we care about our employees. I know you guys definitely do. And I've seen it in action, not just words, which is more important, obviously. So
wait, hold on 1 second. Bashar, I don't think you would ever blow smoke up anyone's ass, first of all.
I know, that's second of all. Well, John, I might, because I actually like him. Okay, La Playa, let's go.
So La Playa, so it was in fact built in 1905 by Angela Giardelli and her husband, a landscape painter named Christian Jorgensen. Of course, the lore is that he bought it for her, but we all know that she was the one who built it for both of them. And they were early adopters into the Bohemian era movement that found its way, in particular, following the earthquake in San Francisco in 1906. And this building itself, you can still see the old structure when you arrive. On the right-hand side, it's all stone. That basically indicates kind of the old house. And then this estate basically was built on in 5 distinct phases over the years. So it did become a hotel, I believe in 1917. At some point in time when they sold it, they moved it into a new ownership, and that ownership took it into the hotel world that we have today. And so what we found, what we inherited, I should say, and we really do believe that we're caretakers of this asset. This is not something that we quote unquote own. We think the community owns it. We think the people that come there and visit with the idea of experiencing, old California bohemia own it. And that's really also part of what makes it special. But it was a very, very difficult time. It was 2011. The world was, as we all, remember, scary. And the hotel itself was losing quite a bit of money. There was no business. It was relatively well maintained, but there was aspects of it that were problematic. The soundproofing between rooms was terrible. There's things that really limited its ability to become a luxury experience, which is basically place where you can sleep well, first and foremost.
So you're like, oh, never mind all these problems, I can do it.
Yeah. And many hotels forget about the idea that sleep well should be the first thing we think about. We all want to throw tchotchkes at you and we ignore the sleep experience.
Yeah.
It's a surprising thing. If you can't sleep well at night, you hit a rate ceiling pretty quick, right? So if you want to continue pushing your rates, which
I don't care if you have a Damien Hirst in your front yard. If you can't sleep well, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So we it was a major risk at the time. It was a scary thing to do. There was not any availability of debt, so it was for my family, for kind of from a dollars and cents perspective, it was not like an obvious layup.
And just to be clear, this is your money. There are no other people's money in this deal. It's not like you're syndicating the deal. You are putting your money, your net worth, your balance sheet on this and taking that risk.
Yes, and we have today and have had fantastic partnerships, and will in the future continue to have partnerships.
Sure.
Fortunately, this was a time and place where the check size permitted us to do that. Mm-hmm. I think if you sold it today, it would be a different story, of course. But that was the opportunity. We could action on this. We could action on this opportunity where others couldn't or wouldn't, because it was a very scary thing to do. So that said, that was 2011. I remember we closed at 11:59 on 10/31, so on Halloween evening. Which was just kind of a spooky thing to be doing.
Man, that's incredible.
We were down in the basement counting wine and doing inventories with our team. It was it was a fun and magical way to start this journey.
Were you in costume?
There was spooky enough in there for us not to have to worry about
costumes.
Yeah.
And the hotel was closed. It was empty and closed, and it was just anyways, it was a wonderful place to start. We did an initial renovation to fix some of the key issues, the soundproofing being number one, and a light touch renovation, which got us to effectively 2020, and that's when we started to think about the next layer in our story here, and we brought in a studio tack, which is now called Post Company, to really bring to bear this sort of historic renovation, restoration that they're very, very good at. They have a lot of experience with. But then we were able to layer on. Maslow's hierarchy of needs within the hotel with the noise and the issues like that. And then we actually also went in to fix a really problematic issue, which was a two-pipe, very, very old school heating system. We had no cooling. And so we were able actually to while we had the walls open, replace that entire infrastructure. It's obviously more energy efficient, which is fantastic. But again, from a perspective of luxury, what does it mean when you go to a hotel where you can't turn the heat up or down? That's how this hotel was. That's how many of the hotels in Carmel are. And now we're able to say, okay, we can give you a good night's sleep. We can
temperature control
your room, and we'll start there, and then we're going to layer on all the things that on top of that make it special.
This is some of
John, when you go ahead.
I was just going to say, these are some of the like things that go into a hotel that no one ever knows about. No one would even think twice about the heating system. You know, it's just like, it needs to be working. I need to be able to control the temperature of my room, and to hear like all these things that are going into it that are, you know, they're not problems. I like to say like design opportunities, and Post Company did an amazing job with the interior design. It's such a beautiful property. I was going to say like
the problem, Brooks, with what you said, just a minute on that thought, is people often want to come in and do plastic surgery only. And you're like, well, wait a minute, but the liver doesn't work. Like, it doesn't matter how beautiful it is. If the systems don't function, to John's point, your rate ceiling is going to get lowered and lowered and lowered with each stay. And again, it takes a long-term thinker and a long-term owner like Mark and Rose as a company are to really be thoughtful about it. Because generally what happens for our listeners who are not in the space, what happens is someone comes in and says, let's throw some lipstick on the pig, throw some tchotchkes here, make it look marginally better, because our only goal is to hold it long enough to generate some income to show the momentum and then sell it to the next person who will deal with those issues. But if you know you're going to own it today and you're going to own it 10 years from now, you are starting, like John said, from the bottom up. You're starting foundationally from the bottom up. You're not just going to throw lipstick on the pig.
Well, you can totally tell that hospitality is in your DNA and in your blood and in your family, and that you guys did this yourselves, because every touch point was there, right? Like I was saying, even at the beginning, like everything was invisible. And for me, that was like really cool to kind of realize. And I was like, wow, this is really awesome. I don't see anything, and it's just happening to me. And it felt like specifically to me, it felt like people knew who I was and what I needed at every given second. And I loved to just pretend that I was a poet and a bohemian rolling around the campus. I want to go back.
You got the look going. I don't know about the braids. You definitely look bohemian. I haven't dug deep into the soul just yet. Hey, John, I know Post, they do fantastic work. And please don't throw up in your mouth when I say storytelling, because I throw up in my mouth when I use that term. Most overused, less not understood term. With branding, did you have to rethink it, or did you think you already have the story, you don't need to mess with it, just let Post come and make it be relevant today? How did branding play a role in informing design? Did you think about it?
Yeah, I think the story and the narrative, all the things that we use as devices to kind of characterize what it is that we do, it's sort of like greenwashing, right? They get diluted if they're not done properly. But if they're done well, then they're super valuable, and they should be called what they are. And in this case, I think with all of our projects, one of the things that we do is we take kind of our own internal Hippocratic oath, which is to do no harm. What does that mean? It means not to harm ourselves by trying to fight the building. And so what I mean by fight the building is we don't inherit or take over any property that we have to do too much to. We look at all of these things as benevolent constraints, and then we kind of peel away what it is that the essence of this place wants to be. And I think in this particular case, that was very easy, right? It's a layup. If you can't let this building tell you what it wants it to be for you, then that's
then don't buy it.
Wow, you shouldn't be in the business if you can't figure that one out.
I like this benevolent constraints. That's a beautiful way of saying it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so this one really, these people existed. This place was alive. It was our humble attempt to say what aspects of what it was that these people in their 1900s, the Bohemians, and kind of what it was they stood for, and in some cases, what were some of the difficulties that they were either running from or trying to overcome or creating for themselves, that layered into kind of the mystique and the soulfulness and the intrigue and some of the lovers triangles and all of these weird things that were happening in the turn of the century Carmel, and to kind of just say what are some of the things that we might want to be transporting people to experience today. I mean, in the room, for example, with that bar cabinet that we created was a real that was like a piece de resistance for the design of the room. You walk in, it's beautiful, kind of like antique glass, backlit, totally overbuilt, and it's just this marker um, of a time, of a shift in a time and a place.
It was so gorgeous. Like, it's oozing. Like, there was 3 different kinds of glasses, like crystal glasses, like a margarita. There was like a martini glass, another glass. It had a cocktail shaker. Like, it had all the accoutrements and the candle and the welcome message that was a postcard from like 1905 from the hotel with my name on it. I took a picture. I was like, this is so cool.
Well, I imagine, John, if I were coming to their home initially and this was a guest quarters, that's what would be in my room. And I imagine that's what you're saying. Let the building tell you what it wants to be. If this lived back in that era and you were a guest of theirs, that's how we want you to feel. I imagine I'm putting words in your mouth, right?
No, totally.
Because otherwise, if you're thinking about it as a hotel, to your point, it's overbuilt. You wouldn't do it that way. But because you're trying to stay true to this building and what it wants to tell you and what it's asking you to do, that's why you go out of your way and arguably overspend in some cases, contrary to the model and the pro forma, but you have to do it to give this building what it deserves.
Yeah, this bar cabinet makes no sense, right? Like, by any litmus test, it's just an investment in the room. Every single room has one. But that's where we tell you the story, and we don't hit you over the head with it. We're not saying this is a bar cabinet that might have had a drink that John Lennon might have liked. That's not what we did.
Sure.
You walk in, it's glowing. That glow hits you over kind of washes over you. And then we hope you go back out to the bar and have a couple of cocktails. And you can imagine, whether you're with your partner or you can imagine some other sort of dalliance that you might have, where you could invite someone back to your room to continue a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And you might not ever make those 2 connections.
Sure.
That's okay if you don't. But that feeling is undeniable. And
Mm-hmm.
these are little touch points for you to kind of experiential breadcrumbs that kind of may come your way. And again, we don't care if we don't need you to tell us that you understood it specifically what we tried to do. We just are so excited for you to have an experience that could be supported by these things that are a little bit off kilter, take you back in time, had occurred with interesting people like the Hemingways of the world. Sure. Imagine you get invited back to Hemingway's room and you're going to drink some kind of a rum
Cuba Libre
cocktail.
Absolutely. Maybe with some absinthe. Then I would love to have a drink with Hemingway. Yeah. There's something
John,
about.
I
was just going to say, there's something about the storytelling, right, that I haven't really experienced in hospitality. And I have this new thing that was communicated to me while I was at La Playa, that hospitality is storytelling. Like, they're the same thing. And whether people get all the connections or not, it doesn't matter, because it's there. It has all these layers of things that you can experience. Even hanging out by the fireplace. I hung out at the lobby a lot because it was like really cool. I loved how dark it was, and the ambiance was just so cool. Like, everything looked cool wherever you were in the hotel, that you just wanted to be there. I want to sit there. No, I want to sit over here. No, I want to go over here. It's just cool places all over.
One thing, that another kind of unreasonable thing that we did was overinvest in the sound system. And I know you experienced that. Bashar, I don't think has been able to experience that yet, but we brought in a fantastic music consultant partner named Uncanned, and they have totally exceeded our expectations. But what we did was we came in and re-outfitted the entire lobby and common area with very high quality but old and reconditioned speakers. And then we also introduced a reel-to-reel player that we have now installed right in the back of the bar. And it's done something very, very interesting to the bar itself. We also removed the TVs that were used to be in there, which was, everyone was concerned about removing TVs, but that's the least of our concerns, obviously.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, it's turned into this sort of contemplative, bohemian, kind of Japanese style hi-fi listening bar, and it's completely changed. I mean, it far exceeded what I thought it would do, but the music loud. And that's okay, because it wraps around you like a blanket. And then the story that these guys have been able to tell through the music selections have actually been very, very interesting. They pushed us further than I thought we would go. We really worked on kind of how to support what they believe to be the right story with kind of within the sonic landscape, and then how does that kind of compel the modern visitor to feel this kind of shape shifting where you're not really sure what era you're in. Sometimes there's a marker that's a bit more modern music and that makes you feel one way, and there's some Django Reinhardt style stuff that pops in there, makes you feel a different way. So I actually really like the fact that it's not a period piece. We're not just taking it to 1905 or 1915. This is
trying to recreate it, right?
It's modern in the right ways.
Yep.
It's traditional in the right ways, and it also challenges you in ways that are not like totally obvious, and they might just wash over you again, and it could just be a song from Jose Gonzalez that you're like, wow, that felt really good. I know that song.
Right.
I love the mixing of the times. Like, you don't know what time it is, like year, or century.
Right.
And that hi-fi reel thing in the bar was so cool. I took a bunch of photos of that thing. I loved it.
Well, one of the ideas, John, that you touch on a lot, and it's lost on a lot of people, is this idea that when we do something cool, we are dying to tell you. We want to put a sign that says, look at us, we're cool. And I maintain that I've never met a cool person who said, hi, I'm John, I'm cool. So often people want to make it so explicit and so in your face that it becomes you're trying too hard. And I could give you 1,000 examples, but we don't want to. It's episode number 1. We'll save the crapping on people till later. This idea of implicit, right? It's leave a sense of discovery for the guest. If they find it, great. If they don't, that's okay too. But the impact on those who find it will be exponentially better than you telling them what it is, because they'll feel that they discovered something that's their own that they don't share with anyone else. So I love this idea of being so quiet and implicit and not trying too hard, because travelers are far more sophisticated and will call you out now if you try too hard and if you just keep telling them how cool you are and everything has a sign in front of it. So I really, really appreciate that. Okay, in the interest of time, I could talk to you for hours. Tell us sort of the nuts and bolts, John. How many rooms? What are the amenities? And kind of where you are in the spectrum of quote unquote quality. It's a small hotel, and I maintain value is a perception. That hotel may be worth $5,000 a night to me. It may be worth $500 to someone else. But generally, where are you in the genre? And how do we find you? And tell us all about if someone is interested in coming, the seasonality also. So give us some hard facts about this beautiful place you've created. You've recreated.
So it's 75 rooms, and it's around about 115 years old. There's older aspects of the building that you really can feel as you walk through it. All the guest rooms are generally in the newer kind of added on wings and parts of the building. When it was built, I think it was the 1917 expansion, they actually used redwood framing, which is still very much the frame of the hotel. It's fantastic infrastructure.
Amazing.
As we know, there's some really good fire retardant aspects of redwood, but also, it's a breathing, living entity, which is a really kind of interesting thing to see when you're walking around in the basement. We have a restaurant and bar, but it's mostly kind of like, I guess, elevated bar food. It's called Bud's, named in honor of one of the most notable owners of the hotel, Bud Allen, who really kind of brought to bear professionalism and engagement in hospitality in Carmel at a time when it hadn't really received that yet. So he's someone that we really we respect and we honor, and we are inspired by day in and day out. On the breakfast side of things, we have a European style extensive breakfast buffet. There are such things as resort and amenity fees that get you nothing. Our resort and amenity fee gets you a lot, and I would say that's a really kind of refreshing thing for travelers.
Indeed,
indeed. Okay, champagne breakfast, omelet station, waffle station. I mean, Brooks can speak to it, but it's something that we've actually just really elevated, and it makes you feel like you're very, very welcome, and you can just sort of meander through the lobby, find your way to breakfast, and it's very convivial. It's also a place for people to really connect.
It's a great community space, people all gathering around for breakfast and just kind of ease. It was very flowy and easy and casual, and just like incredible. What the man, it's like the greatest croissants I've had outside of Paris. I'm such a croissant snob also, even the way I say it. I love, it's my favorite thing to eat. Every day I would eat it, and I would just live at La Playa just for the croissants. They were so good.
And we have this really beautiful outdoor patio, which can be used at all times of the day. We've got a couple of fire pits out there. Again, the music extends all through the common areas. And to your point in your comment, Brooks, at night it gets very dark and moody. I mean, not so dark that you can't move around the space, but we want it to be a place where it's kind of a whispered experience. The lighting has all been designed to make you look as good as possible. Everyone likes to look good with indirect, warm lighting. I mean, all the things that we practice in our industry, but they really, really work well with the bones and the history and the design of this place. We do have a pool for the kids. I know your kids are probably in the pool, Brooks.
Yes, they were.
That's lovely. There's just enough amenity to on campus to really keep you busy and engaged. But we don't have a full service spa. We don't actually even have a fitness center. There's things that you would say, well, you have to have that. Well, take a step back. We're 2 blocks from one of the prettiest town beaches in all of California, if not the nation. The weather there is generally good. You can get on a bike, or you can go and take a run or a walk. Again, to the comment of benevolent constraints, we hope that our guests see this as a benevolent constraint. You're used to going on Peloton, but it's not available. And so someone says, we'll take a walk down the beach. Here's a trail map. Go have a run. That'll be far more memorable for you. If you take that leap, you take that little risk, far more memorable for you than anything else you could do for your workout, your daily
100%.
routine.
We'll be right back. Newly restored and reimagined, following an extensive $15 million renovation with award-winning design studio Post Company, La Playa Hotel offers an exquisite blend of historic allure and an inquisitive spirit. The 75-room hotel stands as a testament to its storied past, artfully blending high design and historical architectural details to continue its legacy as a sanctuary for New Age intellectuals and literati. Boasting beautifully landscaped grounds, ocean views, a swimming pool, indoor-outdoor breakfast room, wedding and event venue, and Carmel's famed Buds Bar, La Playa is an homage to its former life as a creative enclave in one of the American West's most coveted artist communities. All right, back to the show. We have some special guests that we want to have them hop on right at this moment, because I actually walked with these two down to the beach. I'm super excited to have this actress and theater director on. She's known for her work in Scandal and Inventing Anna. She's also appeared in Grey's Anatomy and Private Practice. She's one of the founders of I'm a Theater Company, and she made her Broadway debut in Waitress. Born in Queens, New York, her smile could light up the night. It's Katie Lowes. And he's born in the USA kind of kid. He's an actor and director known for his work in Steve Jobs, Never Have I Ever, and She Said. He's a pretzel tycoon and owns a pretzel company called Shappy Pretzel. He grew up in Philadelphia and has an equally illuminating smile. It's Adam Shapiro.
Yo.
Welcome, you guys. Welcome. We're talking about La Playa and all of our crushes, and I loved meeting you and walking to the beach, which John was just saying was one of the amenities of the hotel.
Well, first of all, Katie and I got engaged right in front of the hotel on that beach. Not while we were up at La Playa, but we didn't realize, 16 years ago when it happened.
Oh, I wish we had been at La Playa.
I know.
But you know what? We're making it right now. It only took us 13 years. And to have the best, most romantic, wonderful weekend at La Playa. Hi, John. Hi, everybody.
John.
Hi, Bashar. Hi, Brooks.
Hi.
What a fantastic surprise on a Friday. It's so great to see you guys. Absolutely.
Katie, what was your crush at the hotel?
Yeah, what's your favorite thing, Katie? Tell us.
I have to say, I really fell in love with the bathrooms. I'm so as a mom,
I couldn't get in.
As a mom of two, a luxurious bathroom is just really hard to come by because I don't ever have privacy in my life. Like I have a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old, and my house is insane. And so just to the bathroom the tile work was so beautiful. It has this terracotta colors and then these dark greens, and it was just so peaceful. And I even had a view out of my bathroom.
Amazing.
It was, oh my gosh. Not to mention, I'm a real sucker and I crush hard on lotions and shampoos and conditioners. And that Lalabo situation was giving me life. Everything smelled amazing, looked amazing. And I felt rejuvenated and restored and like a full-blown adult.
I know mothers always lock themselves in the bathrooms. The bathrooms were huge, and my wife also locked herself in there. We were there with our 2.5-year-old, and she was hiding in the bathroom.
That is so funny. Wait, I had a monster crush. First of all, Grossman himself, I would list as a crush.
That's your crush? Whoa. Hands off my man, bro. Hands off my man.
He's yours.
All right.
But also, the drink situation. So, three different drink situations I really crushed on. One, there's Negronis sort of in the lobby being mixed and poured for people with like a perfect ice cube, perfect ice, and I really like ice. And then you go up to your room and there's your mini bar. Now, this is not just a normal like hotel mini bar. This is like prepared for you to make your own cocktails, like lots of cocktails. I mean, there's every option you can imagine. And then if you don't want to do that, you go down to Bud's, the bar,
So
which
good.
is just what you want the bar in your hotel to be every time, but it's never that. It is here. And you look behind the bar and there's like this, and you guys just talked about it. There's this reel to reel and it's playing music and the music's curated for the space and the spot. And I was obsessed. It was like my first thing was like, what is that reel to reel? Is that what we're listening to right now? This old
John, you're
fashioned
blushing yet, buddy? Are you blushing yet?
Yeah,
Let's see.
I was like, this old fashioned is delicious. The music is great. I mean, let's go.
Adam, I also Negroni is my favorite cocktail, and when I was in the lobby, they gave it to me, and I was like, wait, what? Like, did you know that was for me? Is this always here, or did you like specifically make a Negroni for me? I was like, yes.
We'll pretend it was for you, Brooks.
I was like, this is so great.
Just for Brooks.
Yeah.
It was so amazing. I mean, it was so great because Adam really likes to be out and about. And so he's in Bud's I mean, I didn't see Adam like, that's how you know it's a great hotel because he has tons of stuff to do in the hotel and I'm hiding in the room like reading my book.
Well, you're welcome.
Nap.
You're welcome then. We got him away from you. You're welcome.
Yes, like it's just the perfect, like I'm reading my book. I'm taking a long steam shower. Adam's bye-bye. Like he's somewhere else. Like it was so, I mean, look, we are both actors in our house all day together. So as much as, yes, we also on the opposite end of that had the moment where we walked from the hotel down to the exact spot where he asked me to marry him 13 years ago.
That's so beautiful.
That's so amazing.
And it was we got into our room and we opened the curtains. We had this unbelievable view and the sunset was happening right as we checked in. It was just outrageous. And then I'm looking at the beach. I'm like, Katie, I honestly think that's like exactly where I proposed, like right in front.
Amazing.
But then he geotagged the photo. That's how we figured it out. Because the vegetation all changes a lot.
Oh,
in
of
13
course,
years.
right.
You know, the beach shifts and the you know what's it called, Adam? The erosion. I mean, things look different.
The tides.
I don't look different after 6
Zero,
years,
I'm sure.
Oh, better. You're probably better looking now. My wife and I fell in love, and also like our first trip together was in Carmel, so it was like a love fest with you guys, and then us like having these memories.
And then you accompanied us, and you walked us down to where the proposal site was. That was so cool to take that walk with you.
And you all are such different couples than they were walking down talking about swimming in the ocean, and Adam and I were like, oh yeah, we've never done that here. We're in jackets, long pants. You're like, oh, we are ocean folk. Like we swim. It doesn't matter how cold it is. Or I was like, wow, I love to take a beach walk, which is what's so great too about that area. I mean, you can absolutely swim. It seems so lovely and inviting. But for us not so swimmy ocean people, we can just stroll up and down the glorious beach with everybody. I mean, it was wonderful.
Oh, Katie, there was a funny moment. There's so much attention to detail at this hotel that you know, like what Brooke said, you're like, was this Negroni just for me? Like it feels like things are just for you. And we brought my cousin, fantastic actor, Louis Pullman, and he was with us. And he was just blown away by the hotel, and he kept feeling that way. Like, did they know I wanted this Negroni? You know. So then he had to write something down on a piece of paper, and the front desk gave us the stationery. And Lewis is like, "Oh my god, they put LP on like all the stationery."
Just for him.
They put my initials on the paper that they gave me, and I was like, "Yeah, dude, it's not
buddy,
Wyatt.
sure,
it's definitely Louis Pullman."
Sure.
That is
it's like
hilarious.
If you created an atmosphere where you viably think that they made stationery just for your room with your initials on it, you're doing something right, Grossman.
John, I feel Andre Balaz and Ain Schrager at the moment are green with envy with all this gushing with all these amazing people, right? So soak it all in, buddy. So the bill is coming. We'll send you an endorsement bill. We didn't tell you about that yet.
I
Well,
want
I
to go
mean,
this weekend. Ugh.
I
I'm
know.
like,
I'm riding high from the weekend that we had. And tell Lewis, yes, we did do that for him, just so you know. And I'm sorry
I'll
about
tell Lewis.
yours wasn't available in time. It would have been there otherwise. I apologize.
Yeah, and I figured it just got caught at the printers.
And,
But we're totally riding high from this event we had 2 weeks ago. I hope we get into it, because what these guys created, what we created together in this space was just those are the unreasonable kind of aspects of what we do that make all of life worth doing, right? Like
tell us a little more briefly about it, John. What was the context behind this event and what these
Unreasonable
lovely people did?
hospitality.
Yeah. What was the play? Tell us a little bit more about it for those who were not fortunate enough to make it.
Was 2 years ago, I was thinking about a hotel opening in Flagstaff, and hotel openings are a dime a dozen, as we all know. And most of the time, to get anyone of interest there, you have to either pay them or they have to, be related to you. Otherwise, it's just a bunch of people that are kind of coming in for a quick drink and out.
Sure.
And that's okay. There's a need for that. That serves a purpose. But I was also, kind of reflecting on how much I loved immersive theater, and we were in the midst of the pandemic, and I was wishing I could be doing this stuff. Yearning for this, longing for belonging, as you were saying, Bashar. That was really something I was feeling acutely. And I just told Jen and my wife, for this party in Flagstaff, like, why don't we do an immersive theater? That'd be so much more interesting. I mean, and it doesn't make sense, but wouldn't that be fun?
Great idea.
And so I called a very good friend of mine, Jenna Bezdek, who I knew to be my conduit into the theater world, because she's a very passionate producer herself and has a lot of history in theater. And so I just pitched her on this idea. She said, wow, I think I've got just the right person for you, or the right group for you. And we connected, I think later that day, literally, me and Katie, and we started chatting, and this idea was born. It was nurtured, and then all of a sudden, 8 or 9 months later, we're in Flagstaff, and we did our first performance with IAMA.
Which I was fortunate enough to attend that one.
Oh, that's
so
awesome. Bashar.
Yeah.
And I think, we were all thrilled. We just, it went better than we could have imagined. And then a year later, we're preparing ourselves for this opening for La Playa. And of course, we're in touch the whole time with IAMA saying, hey, wouldn't it be great to do it again? We all agree to do it again. In both cases, they're fully original plays produced for one night only with no takes. It was just immersive on a loop, and the stakes are high, because of the coordination, logistics involved.
Sure.
And you're just doing it because that the people that get to see it and experience it are really going to have something that they can take home with them. So it basically just brings to bear and brings to life the narrative, the idea, the people, the characters for one night only, and I think really pays homage to the building. And then the people.
I feel there's something here to take around the country, John, with these guys, to every hotel.
I know.
Yeah.
Right? Seriously, think about it.
It's really
such an amazing idea. We need to talk about it more. I'm telling you.
Katie,
and immersive theater is the opposite of what we went through during the pandemic.
Sure.
You couldn't be closer with people. You couldn't be more squeezed in. You couldn't be. It's so enjoyable. It's so much fun, and it's such a shared human experience. And we just thought, what a great way to get our production wheels back up and running when we did the one in Flagstaff. And then at the same time, what a cool way to show off a hotel property.
It's so cool. Everyone in the play was so talented. Hit everybody on their marks, always so pro, never missed a beat. It was perfection. I'm getting goosebumps. Just my wife and I were so giddy running around to each of the rooms and their performances, and so was everyone else. There was lines really waiting to get into the rooms to see what was going to happen, and we were just and there was celebrities everywhere, and everyone was like, what's happening next? Where are you going? What room are you going to go to?
You guys listening, you get a map. So there would be one big communal opening scene that sort of sets the stage. Where are we? Who are the characters that inhabited this hotel? Where are we? Is it 1900? Who are what is happening? And then you get a map, and you get what scenes are happening. Room 201 is this scene, and in these rooms by the pool, and then over here in the game room, and then over here in the bar. And you get to pick sort of choose your own adventure, what order you see the story. And then, of course,
And I got a cocktail between each scene.
That's what I was going to say.
Really good
Totally.
idea.
By the time we were done, yeah, he was flushed.
It
Amazing.
was perfect. It was perfect. It, was
The
it
closing.
ended with a dance floor, and I could not have been more ready to get down.
Amazing.
I want to say one quick thing about, there's so many things here that just, I think, warm all of our hearts. And the experience, to create and bring this to life with you guys has been really kind of a career moment. I think for me, it's just, I remember telling my wife, like, who's doing this? Is not me. I don't do this. This is not something I'm a part of. I mean, I was having those checks where I was like, this is crazy, like, wow. But one really fun thing, to your point earlier in the conversation, Bashar, not everything in our modern age needs to be created for our modern age. And what I mean by that is we deliberately and to some risk ask people to be present. We ask them to put stickers over their phone cameras. We ask them not to film any of the scenes. And you would say, well, that's contrary to promoting a hotel. Hey, it's a risk we're willing to take so that the people that happen to be there that night have an experience that's so profound that we're banking on word of mouth. We don't need micro or mega influencers to tell our story. That's not what this was about. This was about getting people present, staying present. And I don't think I saw anyone pick up their phone the whole night. And in what universe can you create the conditions for that to occur in this modern age? And that was
having 100 brand evangelists who have been moved is so much better than having 1 million empty likes that mean nothing, right? So it's brilliant. And I think here we are gushing on it, right? I mean, that's the point ultimately. And to your point, it's all meaningful because they got to experience it themselves, and now they'll go tell 1,000 people passionately about it, rather than just throw a picture on some social media channel somewhere.
I want to be a bohemian in Carmel forever. I want to walk the beach. I want to bathe in the waters. I want to be an artist. I want to drink the Negronis.
Yeah.
It's
want really about the brunch.
One last thing, Patrick Adams and I said, Patrick Adams, also a dear friend of ours who came as a guest for the weekend, best breakfast burrito I have ever had.
Yeah,
and I love breakfast burritos.
Wow.
I am not some.
It's true.
I saw someone eat one, and then as she was leaving, she put another one in her bag.
Wow.
I was like, people are dying over these burritos.
And I was like, this breakfast burrito is BS at first when I looked at it, because it's wrapped in a green tortilla, like
we
a
don't usually like
one. And I'm like, that's not cool. I don't like when we're taking this thing. So I judged a book by its cover.
Katie likes a flour tortilla.
I like a flour tortilla. Well, I just like a white one, that's like a little bit crispy. It was
so good.
My mouth, I can barely sweat, watering. I had 2 both days. Louis Pullman was like, I think I had 4. Like, it was I was like, I'm so sorry, we're eating all your breakfast burritos. This is the best breakfast burrito I've ever had. The eggs were perfect in it. The potatoes it was delicious. I will leave you all with that. I love you all.
Thank you, Katie.
Don't let me
guys.
stop the party. But John Grossman, you're the best, ever.
Thank
you so much, Katie.
Grossman.
I love you guys. Bye.
Bye. Thank you so much, John.
What a great surprise, guys. Thanks for doing that. I mean, as you can tell, we really.
This is so not Hotel 101, to your point, John. This is not what smart hoteliers do. This is not what financially, tigers do to try to make the most out of their buck for it. This truly speaks to, again, your passion as a hotelier and as a human, first and foremost. The hell with the opening parties and the influencers and the models and all of that, because that's a fleeting moment. What you've managed to do and create as an original now with this movement. And I was going to say, you should have made them sign an exclusive. They won't do it with anyone but you. But it really, truly shows how thoughtful and original you guys are in your thinking. And I say your guys because I know Jenna, your wife, has a lot to do with it. And your entire team, who I know are amazing people. But again, congratulations. We cannot wait to crush on the next one and the next one and next one of yours. They're all crush worthy. So congratulations. And thank you so much for being our lab rat.
Thank you so much, John. We love you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you your time.
It's an absolute honor. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Love you, brother. Take care.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Wow.
That was a lot of crushing and gushing, man. Good Lord. I mean, if this was an infomercial, we would have gotten paid a couple of $1 million for this. I'm glad we are staying true to our mission and truly keeping only those places that we truly love and appreciate. And again, I can't say enough about John. He really is. I haven't met him that long ago, but like a brother from another mother. His wife is an amazing woman. His parents are amazing people. I've met his entire family. There's just good people, and good people these days are the best lottery you can win. And the more of them you find, hold on to them dearly in your life, because there's less and less of them out there, unfortunately.
He's amazing. And one thing that I noticed during this like opening weekend, there's things happening all over the place. He was so chill and calm and graceful and talking to everybody except me. I was trying not to talk to him. But he was just so cool.
This is the kind of people we want on this. I'm excited we finally pulled it off.
Well, we've got a lot to live up to after La Playa, and let's see if you're going to trademark any new terms. I heard John use your trademark. You got to charge him for that.
I know. I will bet we're going to steal his unless he trademark. It's the benevolent obstacles. That was very poetic and beautiful. So
I love that. Oh, benevolent constraints. I think he said.
Constraints. Okay.
Good one. Well, Bashar, great to see you. Are you grounded for a little while? I never know where you're at.
I am flying out this afternoon for 5 days. So.
Oh my God. Okay.
Sleep when dead. And wings, baby. I want wings.
I love the wings. Wow, what a great guest. John is amazing. Super excited to have Adam Shapiro and Katie Lowes on the show. Wow.
Beautiful people. We'll see our listeners on the next one. Stay tuned.
Hotel Crush is 100% handcrafted and full of heart. Co-produced by yours truly, Brooks Atwood and Gianna Wurtzel, and dedicated to all the flaneurs out there. Original music written and composed by Brian Rosenworcel, the drummer from Guster, and Daniel Friedman, the drummer from David Byrne. Thank you so much to our sponsor, the gorgeous La Playa Hotel in Carmel, to our dear friend John Grossman at Mark and Rose Hospitality, Katie Lowes and Adam Shapiro, Emily and Jess, Spencer Keir, Chris Plant, Michael Trainer, and Haley Howard. Please help us out. If you know of a hotel that we might have a crush on, or you or your company would like to be considered for the show, send us your crushes at www.hotelcrush.us. It's all good. Don't be shy.